The movement of anti-Zionism is really terrifying.
I think that movement has expanded itself to the new right as well.
Endless support for Israel.
How should Jews be feeling? I think afraid. They think they're asking about Zionism, but they're really asking, are you a dirty, disgusting Jew? I'm just laughing right now, thinking of a Zohran supporter who's like, wait, the things I believe in are peddled by Tucker? Know what you're saying, for sure.
That's the horseshoe theory of it all. I mean, it's no longer a theory. It's very, very
real.
True.
That is populist anger. When I think about a house, I'm like, a house? Like a home, but...
roof and a front yard and a white picket fence. This is so fascinating because you have this touch with what the populists' economic anxiety
I relate
is.
to it a lot, to be honest.
How do you square that with your contention with Zohran?
It's really...
So I live on 44th and Lex.
Okay.
Yesterday, there was a shooting at 51st.
I haven't even had time to read about this. I vaguely saw.
Horror in Midtown Manhattan as a gunman opened fire in a busy high-rise office building with a high-powered M4 rifle. Multiple people are confirmed dead, including the gunman.
You have been following Zohran for better half of the last year, of this year. What do you think the situation would have looked in Zohran's New York City?
Oh, that's a really interesting question. Like, what would the press conference have been like?
Yeah. Or the reaction?
That is really interesting because coming off of reading, I recently read every tweet he's ever posted, all 16,000 of them. And so for my job at the Free Press, where I'm a staff writer, and the Zohran that I became acquainted with through those tweets really advocated for defunding the police. Like he called cops fascist, he called them racist, and so it seems like he has doubts over the morality of someone who is a police officer.
What do you mean by that? Like morality of being a police officer?
Thinks they're bad people, or did in the past. Thinks that it's not just the system that's corrupt, but the individuals who compose it are corrupt also. But that is the past Zohran, and I think the current Zohran is a much more adept political mover who is already changing the way he's approaching a lot of things. Like, he recently met with many prominent business leaders and CEOs, which, like I said, after reading all these tweets, is not something that I necessarily would have expected, having read everything he's ever posted online. And so I did see his tweet that he posted in response to this, and I can't remember the exact words, but it sounded actually like a really standard politician's note.
Yeah, he said that we stand with the first responders.
Yeah,
The irony is that he was in Uganda.
Right.
In a private property enclosed by security guards.
I hope that when he's president, he takes the State of the Union from Gaza. That's what I'm looking forward to.
New York Post will have fun with that headline.
I'll have fun with that.
The question is, do you think this is a facade right now, this tempering down, being more vanilla about who he is? Because to his credit, while he was running, he did not talk like he was talking during BLM, what have you.
Yeah, but at the same time, when he was posed a direct question, he usually did answer it. For example, I was at this mayoral forum that he attended. He only attended for like 1 hour because he had places to be. He literally left the stage halfway through because he was kind of on a rocket ship at this point. And it was really sad. And like Adrian Adams stayed, like all these people that, I don't know, I guess he had like a fundraiser to go to or something. But he was asked, every candidate on the stage was asked, I think it was, would you continue to push the healthcare system of New York, like the public hospitals here, to provide gender-affirming care under your administration? Every candidate on that stage said yes, but that did include Zohran. So when he was asked directly, like, about globalize the intifada or about these more hot button issues, he was honest. But I think what you're seeing now, your question was, is it sincere, basically?
Correct, yeah.
And I think the most sincere thing is like he's a politician. I think that
he's
his
becoming
center,
a politician
I
now.
think his center is, well, that's a good question, because he hasn't had a lot of evolution in what he believes. I guess I don't really know. He might think that the most important thing is to win.
Yeah.
Like the movements he really cares about. He might think, well, it's best served if I need to gain power. So he might think of it as being in service of something bigger. I don't quite know how to think about that.
I mean, the big irony here is that everything, let's call it the boomer ecosystem, is coming down at him. He's a socialist.
Oh, right.
He hates the cops.
Yeah.
He eats with his hands. All of the things which they're pinning on him as something like that's a slander are the exact reasons why his base
100%.
is voting for him.
No, I know. And I know this firsthand because we posted this video that, guys, was funny. Like, sorry to all the haters, but that was the main insult that they were hurling back at me. Like, it made the rounds on Reddit, on this subreddit.
I loved it. It was funny.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Called Faux which literally should just be Faux. It's their celebrity gossip. It's a play on de moi, that Instagram. But it literally should just be the subreddit called r/kill Jews. Like, it's so it's the scariest place on the internet. And I didn't read the comments, but I was informed the tone was basically like, he's a socialist who thinks that trans migrants should be given free housing. Girl, that's why I'm voting for him. Like, so I'm well aware. But yeah, it's a tough situation where, and I recently went out in the field with Cuomo, and it was very interesting. I kind of posed some of these questions to him.
I think that's why I wanted to talk to you, because a lot of mainstream media, let's call it, they are still like, they don't get it. Why people who are standing up for him, why 50,000 volunteers will show up willy-nilly without getting paid.
Yeah.
Like, they don't understand that energy.
Right.
I'm not saying that I agree with that energy, but they don't see why that is a ground-up energy, which is very similar to mainstream media not catching up with how Trump's ground-up energy worked. So they came up with all these different reasons trying to justify why they voted for Trump.
100%.
Do you think that's, like, what do you think needs to change in mainstream media to understand this?
They'll get it. I think they'll get it, and they already are. I would say that mainstream media, weirdly this time, is not necessarily in defense of the establishment. Like, I think it's really more so the donor class.
That's right.
Like, it's really the people who, the sources that I call, like, some of these people, they are billionaires, but it's more so people who have very impressive executive titles, like household names globally. And I remember them saying, first of all, one of them that I call regularly, he calls him Mamdani. Like, he doesn't even know the guy's name. And he literally says, friggin' Mamdani. Like, that's how he says it. And it made me doubt my own certainty, because it totally felt like a repeat of 2016 leading up to the Democratic primary. And I felt a lot of, it's very scary to go out on a limb and make a prediction. Like, the polls were not saying that he was going to win. And that is really when I would call up these executives, that's what they would say. They'd say, look, like, he's got a ceiling. It's all the same people. It's those DSA people. And I was like, no, you don't understand. Like, this is the place to be. Like, if you're a young person living in Brooklyn, like, that's where you go to meet your boyfriend, is like a Zohran canvassing event.
How do you contextualize what happened with two instances, Daniel Penny and Luigi? Because there's this common theme of, I think anti-establishment is way too nebulous, but there's this sympathy towards everything that we talk about is bad for New York City, be that crime, be that housing, be that migrant crisis. There's a group of people who, like, have sympathy towards that in the sense that we will stand up for these people, and whoever is the candidate who shows empathy for these people, he's our people, without any consideration of why people are leaving the city, crime, financial issues, and all of that stuff. You covered, I think, Daniel Penny. You went to his hometown.
Yeah.
How do you think, like, how would you contextualize that?
Well, I also covered Luigi Mangione and all of his supporters. Like, I interviewed a lot of women who like this woman who once a month she goes and she gets like a pro Luigi manicure.
What does that mean?
Like, it has
Luigi
what
on
it
your
says,
nails?
yeah, different like CEO / you know what I mean, like
okay.
the Luigi, the green Super Mario character or whatever. Yeah, and it's like super long and pointy. So the Luigi one, I guess I'm coming at it from the exact opposite angle that you are, but the Luigi Mangione thing, I definitely see the thread there because that is populist anger. That's anger about the system not working, and that crossed party lines. And I think that a lot of the same people who are Luigi supporters, or at least think it's, complicated, or if they had to pick a side, would be more Luigi than the CEO, which is so crazy. But a lot of that same sympathy, I think, translates into support for Zohran. It's really a populist bend, and he's riding that wave, and I think that is the future of the Democratic Party. Like, I don't know if Zohran is the face of the future Democratic Party himself, but whoever is, I think there are going to be a lot of similarities between them and Zohran. They're going to, and Bernie and AOC, they're going to really talk about income inequality, and there's going to be a sense of grievance, but like in a positive way, where...
See, that's the trick there, right? You said positive way because there's context there. Just like Trump's ground up energy was a populist energy,
right,
and was fuck you to the establishment, let's call it. This rings similar to that, with a tinge of chaos.
But also positivity. I think it's what they call toxic positivity. Like, if you look at the clip of Zohran where he's asked, do you like capitalism? He's like, no. No, I have many issues with capitalism. So he's delivering a negative message, but with a ginormous smile. And he quotes MLK. So, but it's an MLK message that he basically uses to deliver a message of grievance about wealth that has basically been stolen from the working class. And so in the same way that Trump is angry, Zohran is equally like happy.
Smiley.
He's so
like a
smiley.
Happy warrior.
Yeah.
How did you said basically the fact that the DNC, let's call it, they don't have branding.
Okay.
They don't have a personality. They don't have a face. They don't have a message. They don't have a unifying goal. I think the future of the DNC will be a clash between the Rahm Emanuels of the world,
totally,
and the Zohrans of the world,
totally, and Cuomo's,
and
like Rahm Emanuel and Cuomo.
And Cuomo's. That's kind of like the nebulous establishment, let's call it, kind of like the shadow of Joe Biden. And how do you think we are over-reading the mandate, because this is just New York City? How do you think this looks at scale in the country?
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. Like, my gut tells me that this is for real. And I think that even going back to 2016, like, obviously it was for real then. Like, it would have been Bernie. Bernie could have been president of the United States. And the Democratic Party, time and time again, has tried to squash that energy just by throwing like boatloads of money against it. And I just don't think it's going to work this time. And when you look at national polling, at least 60% of Democrats are like totally dissatisfied with their leadership. And so I think that there is appetite for change. And that thing that Democrats have been saying over and over again for like since 2016, that, oh, we lost this election because we didn't go far enough to the left.
Yeah.
And then the right is always like, you guys are idiots. You need moderates. I actually think that they're right. I actually think that the American people do want to see some form of universal health care. They want to see income inequality addressed, and they want to see, at a bare minimum, Social Security protected. And those are things that even the Republican Party knows and recognizes now too.
How do you contend with the fact that that message is the same message which people like Tucker echo a lot and is almost mainstreamed by the RNC at this point?
Right.
He says all these things at Charlie Kirk's conference, which in my opinion is the future of like the new right, the new MAGA, let's call it.
I'm just like laughing right now, like thinking of a Zohran supporter who's like, wait, the things I believe in are peddled by Tucker, but I know what you're saying for sure.
That's the horseshoe theory of it all. I mean, it's no longer a theory. It's very, very
real.
True. And I think when Tucker said that, oh, I don't like this guy, but hey, he's talking about New York City when everybody else was asked about Israel.
Right.
He's saying that I'm going to stay here.
It's America first.
It's America first. What do you think that collision of that two ends look like? I mean, we call it populist, and we think that it's the same thing, but their vision of what America is very different.
I don't know how different it is. I think culturally, it's different. But like the fundamentals of people going to factories or something and then still being able to afford a home and healthcare and having dignity and being able to have a family, even if it's like you're in a polycule and like your child is an alien. Like that in my head, that's like what the left envisions, but it's also what the right envisions minus the alien and the polycule. And so I think that you can't overestimate, like there's such a massive appetite. Personally, it's where I am as a voter. Like I really care about, I would say like fiscally, I am progressive, and culturally, who knows at this point?
What does fiscal progressivism mean?
Like, I am very concerned about income inequality. Yeah. But the thing is that we'll say if you increase taxes, it's like, gosh, what the heck is the government going to do with that money? Like, probably not anything good. But then what do you do with the revenue you get from increased taxes? You give it back to the American people. Well, that sounds like theft, actually. So I'm a little puzzled how to solve it.
Yeah.
But I am very concerned with income inequality. I would say I'm pro-regulation, like regulate the insurance companies. But really, it's those same pressure points that I think are universal across America, like huge concerns about corporate greed, especially insurance companies. I
have this read, and you tell me if you agree or disagree with it. If the right and the left, the populist right and the populist left, are looking at the same issue of economic anxiety, let's call it, and the right's solution is protectionism. Like we want to protect America from bad trade policies vis-a-vis tariffs and illegal immigrants coming and taking people's jobs and this and that. So that's protectionism. And the left solution to this is redistribution and let's call it small s socialism.
Right.
And communism light, however you want to call it. Do you think that's a fair read?
I think that's a fair read. The only thing that's missing on the right is being pro-corporation. So whereas the left believes in taxing conglomerations more, the right believes in probably taxing them less, is seen as in, Donald Trump's love for BBB, tax cuts. Yeah.
I'm proud of saying BBB at this point.
It's so funny. I haven't heard that because it's so close to BBL, which is kind of hilarious.
It's Big Beautiful Bill. It's whatever Biden passed that was also BBB.
Build Back Better. Yes.
So I go to DC a lot. Anytime people say BBB, I'm like, which one are you talking about? Shifting gears a little bit, the Zohran of it all is kind of like a narrative violation because in my opinion, when, like you read the news, vibe shift, men are going right, the country was changing, everyone is going right, all this stuff, and then Zohran comes up. How do you make sense of it post-Trump? Like the pendulum
Because
swing.
I think it's inspired by Trump, to be honest. I don't think you get a Zohran Mamdani. Well, maybe that's not fair. I was going to say I don't think you get a Zohran Mamdani without Trump. That's partially true because so much of what he's doing is railing against like the perceived cruelty or austerity of the right. But I think maybe you still get him either way because, like I said, Zohran is really the inheritor. Like Bernie kind of primed
the base.
Americans also to be no longer shocked by the socialism word. And so I think you probably get Zohran either way. I think, but I think that he's really inspired by Trump in a lot of ways. And I think because he's speaking to the same
angst.
Yeah.
What do you think? Is this a generational issue? Because in some sense, the whole like talking point is that these are all kids.
Right.
They will grow out of it.
It is by young person's thing because adolescence is so effing long now. It literally is like 49 and under.
Yeah.
Like
everyone under 49 has a reality.
99 and under. No,
and
just
all
joking.
the boomers who have a house in Florida, they have a different reality.
Yeah, 100%. Like basically everyone who...
You know how I like to think about it?
What?
Men who grew up watching Entourage and women who grew up watching Girls on HBO.
Oh, I actually think it's freaking older than that. I think
Really?
it's like Sex and the City.
Oh, you go way back? Okay,
Yeah,
cool,
I think
okay.
it's like women who grew up because it's definitely you get the like really scary pro sex worker like 18-year-olds, but you also get the like girl boss like
Feminism, yeah.
like 39, 42 years old feminist too. It actually is kind of a ginormous
They're on
tent.
the same plane.
Yeah, and they don't really understand like who is in their party. I think they think they're all speaking the same language, where there are people who are like pro two-state solution, and it's like, no, you don't understand. Like
Yeah, that's a different energy.
Yeah.
Speaking of that, New York City is the biggest city for Jewish people outside Tel Aviv. How do you tie the knot of the fact that in that city, someone like Zohran can come to prominence?
Wait, first of all, did you see what's on the back of my t-shirt?
I did not say. I'm
Wait,
looking at
read.
it.
I think it's the second one. You see it?
Landlord Appreciation Day. Make people pay for the bus again. Sanctuary City for a sign.
Sanctuary City for Zionists. That's like my fake policy.
Where's
we're like all Zionists are welcome.
in
Like
Brooklyn,
I think that's
yeah.
just Israel, but like
Just Israel, yeah.
anyway, that's like my fake agenda of hot girls for capitalism. That's my platform. But sorry, so your question is just like, how should Jews be feeling basically, and how did this happen? Yeah. I think afraid.
Yeah.
I think it's very isolating. Like I am down for the confrontation, obviously, but like I kind of expect it sometimes when I wear my free press hat. It hasn't happened to me, but it has occurred to me that someone could be like, are you a Zionist? Or like kind of mutter something. And that's like really, people really think they're talking about two different things. They don't understand that they're asking like, are you a dirty, disgusting Jew? Like they don't understand, like they think when they're asking like, they think they're asking about Zionism, but they're really asking like, are you a Jew? So I have asked Zohran's campaign for comment. Like one of the things that he wants to do is to increase hate crimes prevention funding by like 800%. And Zohran is of the mindset that anti-Semitism and anti-Zionism are so different, which is a really interesting perspective. And I've asked
do you
him...
agree or disagree with that?
Totally disagree. Like I mean, yeah, anyone who identifies as an anti-Zionist, oh my God, it's the same exact thing. Like, people who have critiques of Israel and I think are coming from a good place where they're critiquing it like
the state of Israel.
Any other, like, I just don't think that those are people who identify as an anti-Zionist. Do you know what I mean? Like, the movement of anti-Zionism is really terrifying.
I think that movement has expanded itself to the new right as well. A lot of the
definitely.
new right is questioning all, like, their allegiance to,
which I understand. Like, I understand from a funding
APAC
policy.
of it all. Yeah.
Obviously, like, ultimately it comes back to, like, why the emphasis? Like, why the focus on Israel? We do send a lot of money there, but I think that is still a hard question for them to answer. But I've asked the Zohran campaign, like, okay, so if you're someone who believes that anti-Zionism is not anti-Semitism, well, what do you do if someone is wearing a Star of David, which many anti-Zionists think is a political symbol? Like, they take issue with the fact that it's on the Israeli flag. Well, okay, say they, like, rip a necklace off of someone's neck and they're like, this is, you're a disgusting Zionist or something. Like, would that be considered anti-Semitic? I'd like to think he would say yes, but then what if it's someone in an IDF t-shirt and someone yells at them, go back to Europe? I don't know. Would he consider that a political outcry? Or, because if you really are someone who thinks that, if you, to a T, believe that anti-Zionism and anti-Semitism are distinct, well, I think those would be anti-Zionist actions, but they're so obviously anti-Semitic.
I think, once again, to go back to the Horseshoe Theory, because I think this has been a fascinating study of that, the progressive left, let's call it, who have always been against Israel, they have been so because they view the world through an oppressor-oppressed, like, quasi-Marxist perspective.
Right.
Israel will always be the bad guy because they have the power. So we will always take the side of Palestine.
Yeah.
The new right, who's saying fuck you to Israel, is not doing that because their hearts bleed for the starving kid in Gaza. They want to be edgy. They want to say fuck you to this BB guy who's taking all the money away from DC for his own cause. How would you, like, how do you want to square that whole, like, the new right is aggressively moving in this direction?
I think the new right is more conspiratorial about it. Well, to be honest, the left has become so conspiratorial about it too, where, like, what they have accused Israel of is genuinely, like, so kooky, where they're getting jiggy with it. Like, they're coming up with the craziest theories about what Israel is guilty of. But really, the right, like, you know, the whole Epstein Mossad thing, like, who knows? But the number of people that, like, jumped there, just
there's a lot of people
like that.
on that camp, by the way.
Oh, for sure.
Across the board.
For sure.
Not just
for
right,
sure.
but the left as well.
Yeah, but I think it's the right. I associate it. I think the right is really, like, the ones who developed that sort of theory. Maybe it's been adopted by the left, but I think the Jeffrey Epstein obsession primarily has been on the right. But yeah, it is becoming more bipartisan, I would say.
I think that stems from the whole populist energy. Epstein, the whole Epstein of it all is an entrepoint for voters who hate all things establishment.
And, like, wealth.
And wealth in general.
Concentration of power.
It's not, if Trump is saying that I don't want to go any further on this, it's not that they're mad at Trump because he's not going after Epstein and the cabal and whatever. They're mad at Trump because they're saying fuck you. He's saying fuck you to that energy of hating the swamp. And that energy spans across the board. Going back to the economy and the economic anxiety across the right and the left, why do you think, once again, let's call it the boomer class, they don't understand that base energy? Because I think that is driving a lot of people's politics, especially under 30. For
sure. Like, my parents have no idea what has become the Democratic Party at all. I think it's because, by and large, I mean, some boomers definitely, their whole net worth was impacted by the recession. Like, there's obviously a spectrum here, but by and large, they had way more predictability to their lives, where they had way more of a traditional timeline of the ability to buy and accumulate property, like the stability of having a home or even just a consistent apartment that you lived in, even a consistent studio apartment that you lived in,
stability.
Like the stability, because I do think that there is something to that changes you, where anyway, jobs that had pensions or things like that. I think that it really comes from they're just in a different economic place.
I think the reason most Gen Z struggles to say that they give a shit about America or if they're patriotic or not, because they don't have a stake in America. Stake, how do you build stake? If you build stake, if you have
I don't know
wealth,
why they're like that. I do see what you're saying though.
I moved to America 11 years ago. So I have seen, like, my stake was me actively buying into the promise of America.
Yeah.
Even though I am quasi Gen Z, quasi millennial.
Yeah, me too.
I'm 29, so I have my feet on both camps. So I've seen that energy kind of like mold itself. I've seen all my friends kind of sort of feel like, this is not really worth it. I'm just gonna go back to my hometown and all of that stuff. My question is, like, if you see Gen Z right now, they feel like they don't have a stake because they can't afford a house.
Right.
They're drowning in debt. Forget about a family because that takes a lot of money.
Right.
Child, like even like going to a hospital for childbirth, they can't afford that.
Just
the simple questions. So why the fuck should they believe into the promise
But
of America?
I was thinking about this recently because, like, it's something I'm thinking about too, where I'm like, when I think about a house, I'm like, a house, like a home, like, but
a roof and a front yard and a white picket fence.
But you know what? I think that I was like, okay, but what if I look at like a studio and not like, it's not going to be in New York City, but what if it's in like Chicago or Nashville or something? And what if it's like, there are all these programs for first-time home buyers where, the down payment I think could be like $10,000. And I'm like, Olivia, like you could do that. Like you could do that. You could empty out the piggy bank. You could empty out the Poshmark sellings. Like,
but this is so fascinating because you have this touch with what the populists' economic anxiety
I relate to it a lot, to be honest.
How do you square that and push back if you disagree, your contention with Zohran?
Yeah, I mean, the only politician I've ever donated to was Bernie.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I definitely understand it, I guess.
And yet you're wearing a Hot Goals for Capitalism shirt.
I think that for me, because I recognize how easily it just lends itself to like authoritarianism, where there's something really, like, I spent time in the Colombia encampment and it was very similar. Like, I use that word toxic positivity of like, hey guys, we're having a great time, right? But then you're like, wait, so Israelis, like, are Israelis like really from Europe? Like, you're really sure about that? And then they like 2 seconds later, they're like link arms and they're like, we're taking one step forward, and they like push you out of the encampment. Do you know what I mean? I just see how everything, that entire environment, like the Colombia encampment is a Zohran canvassing event. It's very clear to me, it's groupthink. It's groupthink where the spectrum is actually really quite narrow of what you can believe in. And the slander of calling people you disagree with fascists, or et cetera, it's really, to me, the cultural vibes that I take issue with.
So I think, once again, tell me if you agree or disagree with this read. Progressives and left, just because of who they are as people and temperament and personality, they have a hard time setting boundaries, right? Even though they want to let in people who have problem with how the economy is run, capitalism, all of that stuff, but then they expand that conversation into being okay with crime, homelessness, immigration, and everything which is just chaos. So even though you're entering as someone who has issues with just capitalism and how we are setting up the economy, in order for you to completely feel acclimated to the modern progressive movement, you have to then also be the person who has no issues with illegal immigration, has no issues with the crime in subways. Do you think that's fair?
Yeah. I mean, I covered a Bernie rally a few months ago. I went to the Fighting Oligarchy tour. We were fighting oligarchy. And and
did you wear that shirt?
No, I didn't. I wore a very like of the people. Like I wore like a flannel. And I was there and I was like, this just doesn't hit in the same way, because so much of it is like, what I loved about Bernie was it felt way more like pure economic populism way back then in like 2015 or whatever. I don't remember, it wasn't like the trans stuff that resonated with me. I don't remember him talking about that.
That was pure progressive Tea Party.
I guess so.
Yeah.
Honestly, if the Tea Party, I remember the Tea Party also having a lot of, weren't they like Obama's not from here or something?
Yeah, I mean, they had a cuckoo aspect, obviously.
But it was very economic.
Very economic.
Okay.
Like populism.
Yeah. But then Bernie, he was just kind of looping in so many like cultural digs. He was really close to calling Israel's war against Hamas a genocide, which is like, bro, why are you doing that? Like, there's no way you personally feel that way.
Because he knows the base and he knows the language.
Which made me feel like, whoa, maybe you don't have the integrity that I thought you do. So, sorry, I'm forgetting what your question was.
My question was how, if you are progressive.
Yeah. Oh, boundaries.
Boundary setting.
Yeah.
Like,
I actually think they have really hard boundaries. Do you know what I mean?
They have a hard boundary regarding
migrants,
the right. Yeah.
They're like, migrants deserve like Brazilian waxes. Like, it's a part of their gender identity. And like, do you know what I mean? They're like, it's your right to have a drag show in my pre-K class. Like, I think that they struggle to exclude. So the boundary is like inclusion at any given moment, unless it's anything vaguely conservative, then you're a fascist and like you need to get out.
Fascinating. While spending time with the base.
Yeah. Of Bernie or?
Zohran.
Okay.
While reporting on all things Zohran.
Yeah.
During the last 4 months. What was something which shocked you, which you did not see? Because it's really easy for us to just caricature the base. But what was something that you did not see coming, which caught you off the left field?
I'm trying to think if it's been anything he's said.
Did you expect him to kind of like temper down what he believes in? Because if you track back Zohran, like he doesn't talk anymore about like rural liberation and all of that stuff.
Yeah. I didn't expect him to play it so safe. Like he's actually giving, I kind of thought he would be the same forever. Like, my guy, he's changing. Like, the guy that I've come to know, like, I've watched every video he's ever been in. Like, he's made me laugh, he's made me think, and I kind of just thought that he would be that accessible forever. Like, you ask him a question, you get a real response, but he already is starting to stick to talking points and recycle them. He's doing way fewer media interviews. He recently met with those business leaders I was talking about. And so that does kind of surprise me. It makes sense. I bet he takes this very seriously. And I think it has to be surreal. Like, you're this guy, you go to a Wu-Tang concert and people are like clapping for you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He has to feel, I think it's probably surreal and he's taking it very seriously.
There was a tweet of a video of him coming out of Nowadays in Brooklyn.
Wait, oh God, I don't even know.
It's
That's
like a bar
it's a
in
bar.
Bushwick.
Okay.
I've been there once. It's very, like, if you go inside, it has its own aesthetic. It's like a yard. Basically, it's kind of like a mecca for anyone who likes to do EDM parties in Brooklyn.
Oh, okay.
And he came out of it, and people were flanking him to take autographs and all that stuff.
Yeah, 100%.
It has the same energy when Trump gets out of Mar-a-Lago golfing.
Yeah, it's literally, but it's kind of like, it's kind of like Beatlemania. Like
it is like Beatlemania
in the selfie era where it's like,
it is such a millennial thing to say selfie era, by the way. I love it.
Wait, what's the new thing? What would you say?
I don't know.
Like TikTok era?
I guess, yeah.
But yeah, like, it's interesting. He's already evolved. He's taken fandom to a new level where, like, if you were a Trump supporter and you wanted to post that online, maybe you did the dance, the Trump dance thing.
Yeah.
It's like that,
It's
right?
kind of like that, yeah.
Okay.
But worse. Yeah.
Well, Zohran is just the meme. Like, supporting Zohran is the meme. So, like, you don't have to do a dance or use any sort of TikTok sound to signify that you're his supporter. Like, it's kind of just the way that you are. It's a piece of merch that you have. It's just supporting him, if that makes sense. He's taken fandom to, like, a whole new level.
Going back to yesterday's shooting,
I really don't think it could can change anything. To be honest, I think that well, first of all, I think we have so cried wolf about what is anti-Semitism, because when you really recognize, like, so much of it really is anti-Semitism. So it's crying wolf, and the wolf is in the room with us at any given moment. But I think that his supporters are so desensitized to that claim where they're like, that I think that even if there were a clip where someone was like, do you think that Zionists deserve to live? And he was like, it's a really interesting question. Like, do Zionists, like, I don't even think that would be relevant at this point. I think that there's basically nothing he can say on the topic of Israel or Jews. I think as long as he uses the word Zionists instead of Jews, I think there's literally nothing he can say that is relevant in that department. So no, I don't.
Pragmatically, do you think this is completely an issue of the fact that we have a pathetic, cucked out establishment being Adams?
Oh, like his challengers aren't that strong. Yeah, I think that's some of it. I mean, my God, like, what
what my favorite thing is? Anytime people try to say that Curtis Sliwa is going to come back.
Oh my God, what is up with that?
I used to work at Fox. I'm like, guys, shut up. Like,
that's actually the last place
talk
where
about a meme.
That's the last place where I heard about it. I was on Fox yesterday.
There's no one outside my old Fox colleagues and people who live in Staten Island who talk about Curtis Sliwa like he's an actual person.
It's never going to happen. Like, he's perceived as crazy. I get that, like, maybe when you get to know the guy, he's not, but
he's a meme.
He has so many cats. and unlike Zohran, like, if Zohran had that many cats, people would love that about him.
Yeah, actually.
But it's not working for Sliwa.
And so Adams and Cuomo.
Yeah.
Well, Cuomo, the fucking elderly gentleman with nipple rings, and he has nipple rings.
Wait, what?
Did you miss out?
What are you talking
yes,
about?
There's a photo
I'm submitting
COVID.
request for comment right now.
There's a photo of him during COVID wearing, I think, a white polo, and he was sweaty, and there are visible nipple rings. I'm not making this up. I can send you a photo. And then you have Eric Adams, who's just like a bizarre human being.
I mean, amazing, though.
Do you think at this point it should be like a unity ticket? If they actually want to be serious to take it down?
I have thank God I'm not in politics, because I'm like, how do you beat Zohran? It's so hard to figure out how you do that without, like, deleting the current field and adding someone new. It's so hard to think about. Like, I had someone call me recently who I think was considering giving money, and they were like, who should I give money to? Like, if I don't want Zohran to win, should it be Adams or should it be Cuomo? And I was like, I don't know. I don't know how it happens.
If you do not have like a proper counter, this is what you end up with. My whole question is, do you think we are, once again, overreading the mandate? It's New York City. It's small. It was a primary. At the end of the day, it
I don't know.
still one of the most liberal cities in America, if not the most.
It's possible. It's possible. I mean, assuming he wins, we have like 3.5 months, so a lot could happen, but it is hard to think about what could get Zohran down, and especially because the field of Cuomo, Adams, and Sliwa is so fractured that it would divide the anti-Mamdani vote. So it depends. Like, if he is elected, I think a lot of it depends on how he governs, but I think he's going to. I don't think he's going anywhere.
You know what the shame is, though? Because it did feel like, crime was getting better technically on paper, even though you have these instances happening. Immigration was kind of sort of getting under control. Like, I live 2 minutes away from the Roosevelt Hotel. It was kind of sort of clearing up. And at that point, you have this happening.
Yeah, it's a crazy. And it's a crazy juxtaposition. I literally can't say that word. Juxtaposition. But he is responding to the same environment. He just has radically different ideas of how to fix it.
Olivia, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. This was great.